Wes Watson, for you folks that are unfamiliar with him, he is a YouTuber. He goes on the internet.coms. He started 3 to 4 years ago. And how he started is he would sit on a park bench and he would point a $3,000 DSLR camera at his face whilst having a bicep pump. Magnificent lighting. You know, you have to wait for the shooting hour, right? $3,000 DSLR, $1,500 lens, and he would record himself talking about prison. He got famous for talking about punching butts and being a little rascal in the penitentiary. And a lot of other prison YouTubers, they picked up on him. And prison people, they're like detectives. They go from being criminals to being part of a detective agency because they were all like, well, let's see your paperwork. And Wes Watson didn't have any paperwork. They got very upset at him. They were like, well, you said you did this, you said you did that. Well, when you do all these things, there's a track record for all of that, and you can't provide that. And so what's the deal, bud? And so Wes Watson's response to that was to fall back from telling all of the prison stories and stick to more motivational speeches. He went from talking about punching butts in prison to screaming at his $3,000 camera and $1,500 lens about people becoming better. People can become better via doing push-ups and just, hey, heck, dude, picking yourself up by the bootstraps. I mean, why can't Wes Watson just tell people to become successful the way that he became successful, which was trauma dumping, making fake stories, being a completely silly goober? I mean, like, what's the most popular thing? Well, let's look at the Learning Channel, TLC. They only want to provide content that people will actually watch, and it's usually like, look at this big loser, look at these losers, right? And that's what Wes Watson pretty much did. He was like, I'm a menace, I'm a scoundrel. Like, so Wes Watson, he was both crazies. He's like a crazy hard guy, a crazy silly guy, and hey, let's point the camera at me and shoot and roll. And so you garner an audience from trauma dumping, and now you're going to tell the audience, oh, hey, it's time for you guys to get successful. It's time for you guys to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. It's so crazy, man. It's like a dude gets so much from being a gimmick, from just being a gimmick. Because like, if Wes Watson just got out of prison, went to trade school, graduated, applied to several jobs, worked menial jobs while, applying for other jobs, then finally landed a job. Honestly, he'd probably be too busy to make these silly vlogs. And it wouldn't be that fun or cool of a story. Like if he made stories about, oh, hey, what's up, guys? I just another hard day in trade school. Golly, we got another test coming up. Well, I mean, this is all going to be worth it once I graduate and apply for some jobs, and hopefully, I can stick to the firm for a few years, and hey, I'll get a promotion. That story, that's not a good story. He needs to talk about punching butts in prison. That's what, So you too can be successful if you go to prison and then you make up stories. It's like, hey, you want to buy my ebook? That's what the ebook says. So it's the successful mind state. It's time for you to be successful. It's like I lift weights, and people just assume that I make that kind of content. They assume that I'm this pretentious dumb loser. And look, I think other people that lift weights are also pretentious and dumb and lame. Like, I don't share my lifting stuff on my personal Facebook, but when I see people that do, and it's just that picture of them in the lighting and a pump, I get sick to my stomach. I get so mad, and then I think of all the comments that I could make and everything. But I know how I'm going to appear if I make those comments. I'm just going to look like a loser, right? So I don't get to have my cake and eat it too. I just have to sit there, you know, spewing in my mental. So people think I do inspirational, motivational things like the Wes Watson man. The Wes Watson man looked at fitness and lifting and was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll just be one of those motivational, inspirational bruvs, right? And it's like, that's terrible. That's not going to get anyone to start lifting weights. Lifting weights is a hobby. Period. Look, I like getting my, you know, private parts sucked on by people when they tell me, "Oh yeah, Jings, you work hard. You lift weights. That's really hard work." I like when they say that, but I also know that first off, my results are subpar. Second off, like, you're perpetuating a bad mentality about this stuff. Don't look at it as hard work. We can follow routines that aren't difficult. If anything, it's better for people to follow routines that seem so easy that we would be shooting ourselves in the foot for not doing them. If people were to just do pull-ups and curls like 3 to 5 times a week for a few weeks, for a few months, that would be amazing. That would be awesome. You know, like, why does every beginner program have to be a full body 3-day split, upper lower 4-day split? It's like, are you freaking flipping serious? This 30-year-old man hasn't done a sit up in his whole life. Now he's going to do a 3x5 on squat, bench, and deadlift, and isolations and cardio and stretching and prehab work. Like, really? Really? Is that what he's going to do now? You goober. You goose. And so we have people like Wes Watson. It's like, dang straight, that's what you're going to do, brother. Let me tell you something. That's how you get... What? You're not going to pull yourself by your bootstraps like me? You're not going to trauma dump on YouTube like me and make up stories and garner an audience like me? That's what I did. That's how I became a big tough boy. And now I'm going to make vlogs about fitness, about lifting. I'm going to sell you an ebook on lifting. Oh, you can buy my coaching services. He has... he makes influencer F-boy vlogs now. 1 minute in the beginning, 1 minute is an intro of him just like flexing and riding his Bugatti, and then it'll be 4 minutes of B-roll with him and his clients in a gym facility doing arm days. We have beginners doing arm days in a gym facility. Now, what I'm saying when I say that, this might be weird, but for a rough beginner, I feel like getting a pull-up bar and some resistance bands would be amazing for that feller, because you could set up that pull-up bar anywhere in your residence. You can use those resistance bands anywhere in your residence. That makes it that much easier, because like, to enter a gym facility, that means getting off of work, getting changed, getting back into your car, driving to the gym facility, entering the gym facility, getting prepared in the gym facility, waiting for machines in the gym facility. People might be insecure, and it's like, oh, we got all these little weird people and stuff, and we're really not too sure on our routines because we just started. And there's people that are multiple years in that are still unsure about the routines and everything. And so you do the routine, and then you have to exit the facility and you have to drive back home. Again, the person hasn't done a sit-up in his whole life. Now we're gonna make this whole now we got to make the person do this whole back and forth on that when he could just come back home from work. Oh, the bands are there, the pull-up bar is there, the routine's there. All right, well, let's get this out of the way, and now we can go and after we're done with our little ordeal, we can go on with our day. Well, why do we have to add a whole drive and routine to that? Maybe later we can add that because pull-up bands and resistance. Pull-up bars and resistance bands can only do so much, right? I mean, what are you gonna do? You can't really train legs with just calisthenics and pull-up bars and pull-up bands, right? Can't really go heavy, and like maybe as the person indulges in fitness content, they'll be like, oh well, I have grown to appreciate strength and now I want to achieve strength as well. Well, then you might have to go to a gym facility, and then by then we'd already have like months of ourselves applying ourselves into a routine, and the routine was nothing. Maybe it was like a few sets of curls and pull-ups every other day, and that's perfect, and we don't need motivational speeches. We don't need inspirational speeches to do a few curls, to do a few sit-ups, to do a few pull-up bars. Like, and we can pick the movements that we want to do. There's thousands of movements out there. Pick the only ones that we like to do. So then we would need even less motivation to do these things. Just do the things that we like to do. We don't need motivation. We don't need inspiration. If anything, we need like an outlook to these things. Like, I would be a jerk off if I didn't do these things. And I know that in itself probably sounds pretentious too. Like, hey, it's a mindset, bruv, mate, bruv, it's a mindset. But I'm not trying to tell anyone that they need to toughen up. If anything, they need to belittle what this whole lifting ordeal is. It's not a big deal. And so when I say stupid, pretentious things like in my social circle, like I'm the only person that lifts, yes, it sounds very vain and pretentious and lame and stupid, but it's just an objective, statement. It's an observation. It's like, yes, I'm the only guy that lifts. My friend, everyone in my social circle can just start lifting, and then that would be the end of that. And now we can congregate about lifting and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes they like to make stupid jokes like, oh, yep, Jings, when I start lifting, I'm going to talk to you about lifting because you know everything. It's like, why would you talk to me about lifting? Do you like snatching? Do you like clean and jerking? Do you like ass to grass squatting? Do you like snatch grip deadlifts? Do you like karate? Do you even karate, bro? Why would you talk to me about that? What if you just all you want to do is focus on arms? I would be the last person to talk to about that. I got dog-ass arms, dude. And so Wes Watson now, he's kicked from the YouTubes. He can't talk about being in prison anymore, or when he does, he's very vague about it. And he just brings it up like the boogeyman, like, ooh, prison, ooh, scary. Hey, don't be like me, ooh. And now you want to be a lifting influencer. Now you want to be a strength and conditioning influencer. And you really need to shut up. You're really dumb. You're really lame. Like when you talk about your dumb junk. When your only angle in lifting is you have to get after it and you have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, then I already know that you don't know what you're talking about. You're a silly goober. You took a bunch of drugs, and whenever you take a bunch of drugs and the only thing you know about lifting is getting after it, then Like you can sit on the couch and get big. And I'm not even trying to say that he's that impressive. If anything, like he does a bunch of drugs to keep himself out of low percent body fat. There's a lot in his physique that's freaking lacking. I'm not here trying to say like, he's so impressive looking that he must be on drugs. I'm saying that he is so stupid and he works so little. Like he'll make a whole vlog about doing an arm day. Like you're doing bicep curls and you're doing overhead tricep extensions like it's a big deal. Like you're chasing the alpha, the omega, like you're attacking the final boss. Hey, person that's listening right now, pick up something and then curl it until you can't curl it anymore. That wasn't that big of a deal, right? It was very easy to do, right? That's literally what he's broadcasting and trying to be like, oh, this is so tough, this is so crazy. And there's a lot of losers like this. They're either people that just mindlessly like did subpar lifting for like 10 plus 20 years and now they have some kind of physique and they make an effort to stay at a low percent body fat, and that's the only thing that they can say. Get after it, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That is so toxic to the lifting community, to like new people. That is so stupid, so lame. This is what new people need to hear. What new people need to hear is provide them a timeline, provide them or at least let them know that lifting isn't a timeline. Like, and we can't really give them a solid answer on how long the beginning stage is. But the beginning stage is just doing easy, simple, fun, not that big of a deal things initially. And that initially frame, it could be weeks, it could be months. I hope not years. But then we just stick to that, and we have to. The only reason we stick to that is because when we do that routine breaks the muscle, and then we build muscle when we're not lifting. So, and a body part only takes anywhere from 1 to 3 days to recover. So when we break the muscle, it's like we have a muscle building buff, right? It's like, boom, one day I did pull-ups, great. Maybe for a day or 2 days, your body is now in a bodybuilding buff. And then once that second day is over, boom, no more, you don't have that buff anymore. Now we have to garner the buff again. We have to get the bodybuilding buff by doing pull-ups again. So if we only do the pull-up, attain the bodybuilding buff once a week, then in a year we only got the buff 52 times. Whereas if we did it twice, now we got it 104 times. If we did it 3 times, but then, lifting weights is weird like that. We have to figure out for ourselves whether or not we're the person that can either do pull-ups twice a week, thrice a week, or every day. That's going to be up to us to experiment with. But if a person just wants to start right away and just like some kind of template, then it's like, yeah, I mean, at the very minimum, twice a week. And so that's the novice stage. The novice stage is just doing fun, simple, quick things, but making sure that we're attaining that muscle building buff as often as needed or possible, or as often as we want it. And then eventually we're going to be adding lifts. because we'll want to, because it's like that's my problem. Like my first 3 years in lifting, it was just squat. Well, my first 2 years of lifting, it was just squat, bench, and deadlift. And then on the third year lifting, it was just squatting. And then on my fourth year, it was just hitting positions for the snatch and clean and jerk. And then only until like last year or so did I start caring about isolations, like actually like training arms. Like I could like in the last 4 years, I maybe did curls at the very most, maybe once every 2 weeks. That's no good. And so we have to provide the body part stimulus. Wes Watson doesn't get in any of this. All these losers that say get after it, they don't ever get into any of this stuff. Um, you know, they just, like I said, I'm being redundant now. They just give someone a whole textbook, and they're like, all right, the test is on Friday, and then we for 1 week we get all excited, and then we just burn out. Like, yeah, whatever. At least Wes Watson doesn't get views anymore, because he's like a big liar and silly and stuff. So